Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are all doing well. So, we already know who will be Manchester United's next manager within 24 hours of Eric Ten Hag being sacked. Ruben Amorim and his move to the club has all but been confirmed by Sporting Lisbon, who have announced we will pay 10 million euros or around 8.5 million to bring him to Manchester United and break his contract at Sporting Lisbon. He could, though, not be involved until the end of the next international break, which would mean his first game would be against Ipswich towards the end of November. But of course, that could all change. We could see more clarification on when he'll start. Maybe he could be in charge for that Chelsea game at the weekend. But we will at least get Ruud van Nistelrooy for the game against Leicester in the Cup at Old Trafford and potentially a little bit longer. But Ineos and the gang have moved very, very quickly to make this next appointment. Although they dithered and dillied and dallied over what was going to go on with Eric Ten Hag and his future, they have been quick to get this deal done. And it kind of tells you the groundwork has been done over the last couple of weeks, maybe months as well, in terms of, speaking to potential coaches, speaking to potential managers of Manchester United. And it's believed that representatives of Ineos were in Portugal. They're in Portugal right now, but there's talk that they were there last week as well, speaking to Ruben Amorim and getting the deal ready for him to join Manchester United. As I've said, it's felt like they've already decided on sacking Eric Ten Hag. I think after the Spurs game, I really do think that was probably the straw that broke the camel's back. I feel like that was the game. Remember Jim Ratcliffe's interview after that, where he was asked, do you still back the manager? And he was kind of like, I don't really want to answer that. I like him, but it's not my decision. It's the sporting people's decision at the club. Obviously, he'd have a big say in it, but he refused to kind of back him. And it told you all you need to know about what's going on with Eric Ten Hag. But we'll get stuck into the latest on Ruben Amorim, his move to Manchester United. We'll talk a little bit about his style and his formations and all those kind of things, because there's been a lot of talk about that as well. And we'll get stuck in to all of this stuff. He was linked with a potential move to Manchester City when Pep Guardiola was going to depart, whether that's next summer or the summer after. It's been believed he was linked with that job. He was in talks as well. I remember Sky Italia reported that a deal had been agreed to join Liverpool after Jurgen Klopp left. So he's been highly sought after, but so was Eric Ten Hag. I've seen tweets floating around since, from 3 or 4 years ago, where it was like Eric Ten Hag is a potential suitor for Pep Guardiola. And I say that to say this: Eric Ten Hag too was a highly thought of, a coach and a manager with great potential that we brought into the club. And it doesn't always mean these things are going to work out. But Ruben Amorim seems to be the best choice that we have out there. Obviously, there was a lot of talk about Thomas Tuchel. Nagelsmann was an ideal choice as well, although he's still in that job at Germany. Like, you look around and there's not many big... After Ruben Amorim, you were going Thomas Frank, Graham Potter, Gareth Southgate. They aren't the names that get us excited. And Ruben Amorim, although only 39 and still probably not proven consistently, he's a coach with his own ideals, his own style of play, and hopefully he'll be bringing that and the success he's had at Sporting to Manchester United. But the news broke earlier on today from Fabrizio Romano, who reported Manchester United are set to pay the €10 million exit clause for Ruben Amorim to become the new manager. Here we go. Sporting confirmed formal communication received from Manchester United for Amorim to be appointed, and Amorim has already said yes to Manchester United and their proposals. Obviously, Sporting Lisbon have since delivered a statement which has confirmed that. They've got a game tonight, as I speak, Tuesday the 29th, tonight, against Nacional, and it's believed we could see like an official statement from Manchester United after that game. Florian Plettenberg kind of alluded to that. He reported that being told that all the final details about the transfer of Ruben Amorim to Manchester United will be clarified after the match against Nacional this evening. The transfer is expected to be fully completed and announced this week. Amorim said yes to Man United, and Sporting want to give the green light, so they know that one is done. Per Oyogo, it was tweeted by Zane_Z7, but the reports come from Oyogo, who are a Portuguese-based outlet, so that Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth are in Lisbon, and it's not their first time recently. They were there also last week, means they had plans even before Erik ten Hag was sacked. Hugo Viana, who has joined Manchester City as their sporting director, I think he'll take over either next summer or from January. He wanted Amorim to join Manchester City in 2026, but Amorim won't wait. Hopefully that doesn't mean that Pep's going to be around for another season, but that's the talk in terms of Hugo Viana and his relationship with Ruben Amorim. Then we obviously heard the only negotiation left earlier was with the club, but that has been settled now. And as you can see, that statement, it's in Portuguese, so I'm not going to read it. As you can tell, I might look a little bit Portuguese, but I'm not. I'm not going to be able to read that statement out in Portuguese, but they have officially confirmed that. And Fabrizio Romano has gone on a reported contract project and details of the agreement between Ruben Amorim and Man United are 100% in place. He's the man wanted by all those who are involved in the management area. Negotiations are underway with Sporting to find a solution for Amorim's exit. And what we mean by that is, obviously, it's been done. It's been agreed that he will leave Sporting Lisbon and join Manchester United. But what date will that be from? Will he have to sit in place until the next international break? Will Manchester United have to pay a little bit more to get him out of his current deal? We're still kind of waiting to see what goes down with that. There's been a lot of talk about Amorim's profile and his style of play and everything, and we kind of covered some of that in yesterday's video when the news was broken on Ruben Amorim. But yeah, he plays a 3-4-3. I've seen a lot of talk about, he's unwilling, like reports from journalists, he's unwilling to move away from his 3-4-3. Now, I've got to ask, whilst a manager has to be flexible, he has to adapt to the players he has, the league that we are in, the opposition that we're facing on a weekly basis. While a manager has to be flexible, and I think Amorim has shown flexibility moving to a 4-2-3-1 at Sporting when they've had injuries. We also want a manager to be themselves. A little bit about Ten Hag, I feel. Maybe he lost his way a little bit. He lost, in terms of the style that he wanted and all those kind of things. He lost his way a little bit after a year or so and started just kind of go scattergun with his approach. We need a manager that's going to stick to their principles. We need a manager that's going to stick to their style and not bend for anybody. And hopefully we have that in Ruben Amorim. You also look at a lot of the signings that we've made and a lot of positions that we're weak in. We brought in Lenny Yoro and De Ligt in the summer. And a lot of us were going, so we got Lenny Yoro, De Ligt, Lisandro Martinez, Johnny Evans is still there, Harry Maguire's still there, Victor Lindelof. But obviously we've got these three key centre-backs in Yoro, De Ligt and Martinez. Where are all of them going to play? Well, if you're playing a back three, there you go. Also, fullbacks. We haven't got any. Luke Shaw, interestingly, injured again. I don't wish injuries on anyone, and I feel sorry for someone that's constantly injured. But I go back again to the fact that he joined up with England early in the summer, played about 20 minutes, and then rocked up injured for Manchester United again. Where are your priorities? And I know it's a big goal for these guys to play in European international tournaments with their country. But brother, we pay your wages, and we pay you a lot of wages, and you don't turn up to play for us. I think it stinks a little bit. But people talking about, fullbacks and Luke, we don't really have, we got Mazraoui and Dalot, but outside of that, who we got? So maybe the 3-4-3 could benefit that. Now, there's some players that could be impacted. Garnacho's a really natural, raw, wide player. Will he have to shake up that front three that he likes? Will he have to, try and create... Because he kind of has two 10s and a striker, or two narrow players, wide players with the striker. Will that benefit and help Garnacho or hinder him? Will Ahmad become a key figure in that? Bruno Fernandes, will he become a part of that front three? Because it doesn't look like the player that could be part of that midfield two, the two holding players. You'd imagine that would be Kobbie Mainoo or Ugarte. Ugarte is someone that's played for him in the past. That doesn't mean he's going to be excellent for him. We had a lot of talk about Donny van der Beek and Ten Hag and all these kind of things. It didn't go to plan. But ultimately, I want him to stick to his guns. I want him to do that. He also likes bedding in young players, improving young players, and we've got an abundance of talent in our under-18s, 23s. You look at some of the players that we've got that are just on the verge of joining the first team, and he could be very, very good for them as well. But yeah, Ruben Amorim, the deal is done, and I think that shows that, we've got... It's the first big decision, first of all, Ineos have to make, and they've made it very swiftly. They've made it professionally. And you look at some of the deals that they've done for players, like the Lenny Yoro one kind of went under the radar. The Lit one was a good deal. Mazraoui was a good deal. And they've done this quite similarly in quick fashion, smooth fashion. Not many people are getting the drop on what's going on at Manchester United as well. How often did we hear rumours before someone was sacked, or rumours before someone was signed, or rumours before we brought in a new manager? We knew Mourinho was coming in while Van Gaal was still celebrating the FA Cup. Nobody knew Ten Hag was sacked. Ornstein dropped the bomb just before the official statement come out from the club. No one really knew Ruben. I've seen some reports that Man United couldn't afford compensation packages for managers that were in jobs, and therefore were looking at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. None of the press knew what was going on. And that kind of gives me a little bit of reassurance as well. But ultimately, Ruben Amorim's our new manager. We go again in terms of with a new, that new dawn and all those kind of things. And I'm sure I will get excited at some point. But I have kind of got to that. And I don't know if you are like this as well, Manchester United fans listening to this at home, where you kind of just prove it to me on the pitch. I'm done getting excited reading articles and watching videos and seeing how teams play elsewhere and how managers perform elsewhere. Go and prove it to me on the pitch. One of the things I would say though is I feel Ten Hag let himself down in kind of his personality. Now, I'm not to say his personality wasn't the one, but in terms of in front of the media, in terms of when he spoke about the club, I feel like you have to be almost like a politician in the way you deal with those things. And I really hope Amorim can come in. I'm not sure how good his English is or those kind of things, but I really hope he can come in, be himself, and kind of gain a connection with those fans. Old Trafford's been flat for a little bit now. And whilst we still want Ten Hag to do well, no one's been booing him, we're trying to get behind him, you can tell it's been flat. Everyone kind of knew we're maybe on a journey to nowhere. And I'm hoping a manager can grip the fan base and kind of take us on that journey with him, but also just kind of get everyone pulling in the right direction. As much as people kind of laughed at and criticised Jurgen Klopp when he first went in at Liverpool, that's what he created. And I feel like we kind of need that. We need Old Trafford to be rocking. We need everyone to be on the same page, because Old Trafford can become a huge fortress for us. But also, I think this manager, again, needs time. I don't want to see, what you see a lot as well, people that have kind of gone, oh yeah, I'm Ollie in, so therefore the next manager, I'm going to give him a hard time and I'm Ten Hag in, so now this guy needs... No, you have to give all managers time. And unfortunately, Ten Hag had a lot of time and didn't deliver with it. And fingers crossed, Ruben Amorim can be that guy. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Wednesday night under the floodlights with Ruben Van Nistelrooy in charge. But I am glad that we've made a decision, because what I didn't want to see happen was Ruben Van Nistelrooy wins a few games and we give him a job, because that's short-sighted, it's short-term thinking, and ultimately Ruben Van Nistelrooy isn't ready for this job, at least yet anyway. So I think they've done the right thing. I will get excited for Ruben Amorim eventually, but right now, on Sunday I'll be saying we're winning the league, don't worry about that. But right now, more of a let's sit back, wait and see what happens, and fingers crossed, we'll all get behind him and hopefully we go in the right direction. It's pretty hard to go any worse than we are right now, but you know what I mean. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you're keeping it locked. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. For now, I've been AdamMcKola. I'm out of here.